Why does life feel silent after 70? Not because the world has stopped talking, but because those who once truly listened are no longer here. As we journey into our 70s and beyond, many discover that the world grows quieter, not because it has ceased its bustle, but because those who truly heard our stories, who shared in our laughter and tears, have taken their leave. The silence is not merely the absence of sound, but the absence of familiar voices, of warm hands clasped in comfort, of the easy companionship that once defined our days. Waking up in an empty home, preparing a cup of tea for one, and sitting in the hush of the afternoon can feel like a daily echo of what's been lost. Yet within this quiet, a profound transformation is possible. A happiness not shaped by crowds or constant companionship, but born from a renewed connection to oneself, to purpose, and to the unassuming beauty that still abounds. Let us continue with 3 more real-life inspired stories, each a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unexpected ways joy can bloom, even in the most silent seasons of life. Third, there's Mr. Tanaka, a retired school principal in Osaka. For years, he struggled with the loss of his wife and the estrangement of his only son, who had moved abroad and rarely called. The house felt cavernous, every room echoing with memories. At first, Mr. Tanaka tried to fill the silence with television and radio, but the noise only reminded him of what was missing. One chilly morning, he noticed a group of young students passing by his home. On a whim, he began standing by his gate each morning, offering a polite bow and a gentle greeting. Some children were shy, others curious, but over time, his small gesture became a fixture in their routine. Eventually, parents and teachers noticed, and Mr. Tanaka was invited to share his wisdom at the local school. He became an honorary grandfather to dozens, his sense of belonging restored, not by reclaiming the past, but by quietly investing in the present. Through simple kindness, he rediscovered meaning and a sense of community that transcended age and blood ties. Fourth, let's travel to rural Ireland, where Mrs. Eileen O'Connor found herself widowed at 76. Her days, once marked by the rhythm of her husband's farm chores and the laughter of visiting grandchildren, now stretched long and empty. She realized that her heart ached not only for lost loved ones, but for the songs and stories of her youth, the Celtic music and folklore that once filled her home. Instead of letting those memories fade, Mrs. O'Connor began recording herself, singing the old ballads and reciting tales passed down through generations. At first, it was simply a way to keep herself company. But her niece, visiting from Dublin, uploaded the recordings online. To their astonishment, people from around the world began listening and writing letters, sharing their own stories and songs. Through this unlikely connection, Mrs. O'Connor's voice bridged continents, bringing comfort to strangers and reviving a sense of intergenerational pride. In sharing her history, she found new friends and a renewed sense of purpose, proving that solitude can become a wellspring of connection in the most unexpected ways. Finally, consider the story of Mr. Samuel Johnson, a retired railway engineer in Chicago. After the passing of his beloved wife, the world seemed to shrink. The calendar, once crowded with social engagements and family gatherings, now lay open and blank. Mr. Johnson knew he could not recreate the life he'd lost, but he was determined not to surrender to loneliness. He began volunteering at a local animal shelter. The work was simple: feeding, cleaning, walking the dogs, but it was transformative. The animals, each with their own stories of abandonment and hope, needed him. They responded not to his age, but to his patience and gentle hands. Through these daily acts of care, Mr. Johnson found that his heart slowly healed. The joy in a wagging tail, the trust in a rescued cat's eyes, these moments became his new companions. In giving his time and love, he received it back in abundance, and the shelter became a place of belonging, laughter, and renewal. What do these stories teach us? First, that happiness after 70 is not a myth or a consolation prize. It is a real, expansive possibility. It does not depend on the presence of old friends or even family, nor on the noise of a busy household. Rather, it grows from a willingness to reconnect with oneself, to nourish memories in creative ways, and to find new purpose in the quiet. Writing to your younger self, as Mr. D'Souza did, can open a door to self-understanding and healing. It is a gentle form of companionship that draws strength from within, honoring the journey you've traveled and reigniting forgotten dreams. Cultivating a garden of memories like Auntie Parveen transforms grief into beauty and creates a living tribute to love that endures beyond loss. Simple acts of kindness and engagement with the world, as Mr. Tanaka and Mr. Johnson discovered, can create new bonds and a sense of being needed, no matter your age. And sharing your story, as Mrs. O'Connor did, turns solitude into connection, reminding us that every life is a thread in the tapestry of human experience. If you find yourself sitting in the hush of an empty house, remember, silence is not the end. It is a canvas. In this quiet, you have the freedom to rediscover your own voice, to nurture new connections, and to find meaning that is deeper and more personal than ever before. You are not invisible, nor are you alone in your longing for purpose and joy. The world may seem to have moved on, but your story is still unfolding, rich with the potential for happiness in its most authentic, enduring form. So, as the days pass and the world grows quiet, listen for the small songs, the letters you can write, the plants you can tend, the greetings you can offer, the stories you can share, the lives you can touch. In these gentle acts, happiness after 70 is not just possible, it is waiting to be found, in the silent spaces where your heart still beats, hopeful and strong. Edward's story begins in the narrow, rain-washed streets of Manchester, a city where time seems to move in cycles, the old brick buildings echoing with memories. After a lifetime spent as a railway mechanic, Edward retired, only to find that the tracks he once tended had been replaced by an unfamiliar quiet. The passing of his beloved wife, followed closely by the loss of his two best mates, left his days hollow and colorless. His world contracted, conversations faded to brief nods at the corner shop, and the silence in his small flat settled on him like dust. For months, Edward drifted through days that felt interchangeable, grey mornings giving way to heavier afternoons. But then, quite unexpectedly, a neighbor's grandson offered him a battered camera left over from a school project. It was nothing special, just a compact digital model with a cracked screen. But to Edward, it was a small, unspoken invitation to look again. He began to walk the streets with the camera in his coat pocket, at first snapping photos at random, unsure of what he was seeking. Slowly, his eyes sharpened. He found himself drawn to quiet moments others might overlook. The loyal dog patiently waiting outside the bakery, the shimmer of raindrops on a forgotten iron gate, a single mitten abandoned in the snow. Through the lens, Edward found fragments of beauty, a reminder that the world, though changed, still held wonder for those willing to look. He started a blog, calling it Still Moments, unsure if anyone would read it. But people did. His photos, gentle and observant, were shared far beyond his neighborhood. Messages arrived from strangers around the world. Thank you for helping me notice the small things. Your photos made me pause today. I see my city differently now. For Edward, the walks remained solitary, but they filled him with purpose. Each day, he set out not just to pass the time, but to discover, connecting, in his quiet way, with countless unseen companions. The ache of loss softened, replaced by a quiet pride. Though he still missed his wife and friends, Edward had found a new kind of companionship in the shared stillness of his images, and in the knowledge that, even in solitude, we can touch others' lives. In Tamil Nadu, Amma Lakshmi's life changed in quieter, more incremental ways. Her home, once filled with the clamor of a joint family, laughter, arguments, the shuffle of many feet, grew silent as children and grandchildren moved farther away, their voices reduced to digital greetings and infrequent calls. She took her morning tea alone on the porch, watching the world pass by. One day, the milkman was late, and so, on a whim, she poured an extra cup for a delivery boy she saw lingering outside her gate. They shared a brief, awkward conversation, and he left with a smile. The next day, it was the postman. The day after, a neighborhood sweeper. Amma discovered that these fleeting connections filled her with unexpected warmth. Soon, her porch became a stopping place for many, a place to rest, to chat, to share a cup of tea, and a moment of comfort. Neighbors began to seek her out, not just for her hospitality, but for her wisdom. Young mothers asked for advice. New arrivals wanted to learn local recipes. Children listened wide-eyed to her stories of old festivals and family lore. The patchwork of small interactions stitched Amma back into the fabric of her community. Her loneliness faded, replaced by a quiet sense of belonging. She realized that sometimes happiness is found not in waiting for others to come to you, but in reaching out, one cup of tea at a time. Charles's journey unfolds in a small American town, where he wrestled with the slow, bewildering grip of early dementia. Once a confident storyteller and a beloved grandfather, Charles found himself forgetting names, faces, the lyrics to his favorite songs. Yet his hands, steady and practiced from years spent fixing things, still remembered how to hold a paintbrush. His caretaker noticed him sketching the same image over and over, a bird in flight, simple and unadorned. That image became his anchor, a symbol of freedom and hope that persisted even as memory frayed. With help from his family, Charles began painting more, translating emotion into color, memory into form. His children set up a small online store, not expecting much. But the world responded. There was something raw and honest in Charles's art, a vulnerability that resonated with strangers. Orders arrived from across the globe. Though Charles struggled to recall the details of each day, he found joy in the act of creation. Each brushstroke was a declaration. I am still here. I still have something to say. The recognition was gratifying, but the real reward was the meaning he rediscovered within himself. In sharing his art, Charles bridged the gap between what was lost and what remained. He may have forgotten many things, but he had not forgotten how to offer something beautiful to the world. Together, these stories reveal a profound truth. Solitude in later life is not a sentence. It is a blank page, waiting to be written. The years after 70 are not merely a winding down, but a new chapter, a chance to rediscover, to reach outward, or to turn inward and create. Happiness, at any age, is not handed to us. It is shaped, moment by moment, by the choices we make and the small acts of courage we summon each day. Whether it's pausing to notice the beauty in everyday moments, extending a hand to a stranger, or finding solace in creativity, these quiet actions transform the experience of aging. They teach us that we are never truly invisible, never truly finished. Each season of life, even the quietest, holds the potential for meaning and joy. In the stillness, in the routine, in the gentle unfolding of days, we can write our most beautiful pages yet, pages filled with connection, purpose, and the simple, enduring pleasures of being fully present in the world. So, if you find yourself alone, remember the stories of Edward, Amalakshmi, and Charles. Let them remind you that happiness is not behind you. It is here, in this moment, waiting patiently for you to notice, to reach out, to create. Your story is still unfolding, and the best chapters may be yet to come.